Hi, happy holidays. Hello, everybody out there in the virtual world. The future is here. We are high in the clouds. Next, we will be lost in space or spaced out with Jeff Bezos. Welcome to Sister Talk TV show. And I'm your host, Deetra Kelsey. We will end the year discussing topics that affected these United States of America in 2021. So what I'm saying is the top news stories of 2021. And with me to discuss those topics are, the drum roll please, Ina Norris. She's a director, writer, producer, and producer of the Kwanzaa Film Festival. Thank you, Ina, for joining the virtual stage of Sister Talk TV show. Next we have is Star Davis, actress, director, and she doesn't like me saying this, but political analyst. Also, she's the editor and founder of her international magazine, You Can Magazine. And the humble, the queen, the veteran, actress, writer, dancer, songwriter, choreographer, teacher, Dana McBroom Mano. Oh, hell of a queen. Hell of a queen. She starred in my gospel musical as First Lady. She did not want it any other way. So, hey, what can I do? Hey, we're going to go ahead and dive in to talk about the top news stories of 2021. And we're going to talk about the breaking news that broke a couple of days ago. The tornadoes, right, Anna, Dana, and Star? The tornadoes, which was the worst natural disaster in United States history. We're talking about over 100. That's what they're talking. Over 100 dead in 6 states in the Midwest: Illinois, Missouri, Arkansas, Kentucky, Tennessee, Ohio. Not only that, the West Coast fires and the natural disasters, buildings collapsing in Florida. Let's talk. Is this climate change, or is it us? Is it a factor that we're not taking care of the earth? Climate change is natural over a long period of time, but it seems to be expediting. Is it because of us? Star.
Absolutely, it's because of us. As we were talking about before, this has very much to do with the fact that the population is growing much faster than the resources are able to replenish themselves. We're using things at a much faster rate. The cutting down of forests, in particular the Amazon rainforest. Bolsonaro now is kind of trying to do away with parts of the forest for ranching of all terrible reasons. And that's making a huge impact on the planet, and like I'd said earlier, trees produce air that produces oxygen. And if we're cutting down trees and we don't have enough natural producers of oxygen, the human body can live without air for 3 minutes.
Yeah, it's so amazing that this disaster is really, I guess, really catastrophic. If I'm saying this word right, I'm sorry, because I am high. But Ina, when I talk about these disasters, we're looking at whole towns are being dismissed, counties, people are losing everything. I mean, do you think this is an act of God, or is it us?
Well, I think that, we symbolize God in our behavior. So if we are not taking care of what God has given us, it is an act of God in that way, because we have not prepared ourselves, nurtured our land, or any of those things. So a lot of things could have been avoided. We build on places that never were intended for us to have a home on. We have to have some greenery. We need trees. We can't just say we want to be here and we don't care about the ecosystem. So yeah, and in my opinion, it's a multiple things that is a perfect storm for something like this to happen. So yes.
Do you think it could have been prevented? Because there are people saying that it's just nature. It's time to do this. I mean, it's the act of nature. It's going to happen anyway.
The planet has gone through many incarnations, but at this particular time in history, we have not had the amount of deforestation at any other time in history. So, as the saying goes, your arm's too short to box with God, and that's happening right now. And we are going to reap what we sow, and the planet will go on, and we might be gone, but the planet will remain and regrow its trees and replenish its oceans. And if we're not careful, we just won't be here to see the show.
Yeah, I know that you and I, we all discussed before the show that we needed more greenery. The deforestation of the continent, of the planet, period, is contributing to the climate change, the rapid climate change. And a lot of people, I feel, don't realize that, the powers that be and so forth. But we're going to segue into the pandemic, which is one of the top news stories of 2021. The pandemic has changed all of us. People are doing, like I said, virtual work, virtual conference. People can't afford to do virtual stuff. They have to go into the office. What do you see the changes in this pandemic has made? How has it affected people such as yourself, and nationally and internationally?
For me, it's unfortunately there's been such controversy because of the need for vaccines, and there are socio-political feelings from different people, and there are health differences with people. You have a lot of vaccine hesitancy, and at the same time, you have people who are just not taking care. It's odd, but this particular virus is fat-based. That's why initially they told everyone wash your hands, because the soap itself would break down the molecules of the virus. But on the other hand, even when there was no virus, some people are just nasty. My mother laughed, and she said she couldn't believe that they had to go on the air to teach people how to wash their hands. And we have all been out, see people going in the restroom and they just walk right out.
Right out, yeah. We've all seen that.
Yeah, so this is a very big problem domestically and really internationally, just in terms of cleanliness and taking care of yourself. This is an airborne illness. So these people who refuse or don't want to wear masks, I was on you're on an elevator and you can still smell people right through the mask. So we need to take care of ourselves, be aware of the social distancing, and know that, we could kill ourselves.
So what do you think of, what do you say, Star?
Well, again, not to step on anybody's toes, I have always been pro-vaccine. I can certainly understand why African Americans would not be, based on our history in this country, from Henrietta Lacks to the Tuskegee experiment to, slave women being used as experiments without anesthesia for gynecology, right? But I do know medical professionals who very early on were enthusiastic about being immunized and getting this vaccine. And I trusted them, and I trust their professional opinions. So once I saw that all the medical professionals I knew were being vaccinated, yes, I'm totally for the vaccine. As I said earlier, I did a public service announcement stating the importance of being vaccinated. And yeah, I'm getting my booster in a few days. So I look forward to continue being protected.
How about yourself, Ina?
Well, I want to say this personally, on a more intimate level. I would never tell someone not to be vaccinated, and I would never tell someone to be vaccinated, because once I encourage someone to do it one way, and if something goes wrong when someone gets vaccinated, then I will feel responsible if something goes wrong, if someone doesn't get vaccinated, I will feel responsible. I think it should be an individual choice. It's a choice that you make with all of the information that you have about yourself that others don't know, and all the information that you get on the outside. I don't ever want to leave that right. I don't care about the majority and the minority. I see manipulation through the media. I was hurt. I was really hurt by a lot of people in the media telling the same story and not being honest all the time just to be a part of the herd. And that was scary to me, because I can imagine when Harriet Tubman was saying, we gotta run, we gotta run. No, everybody said we can't run, and nobody runs, because you can be in the minority of some time and you can have information. I read medical journals. I have the top medical people around the world. I just feel, not saying, like I said, I would never tell someone to do or not to do, but I just feel that people have been silenced, that they only want to tell one story. And that to me is propaganda. That is limiting our rights. And for one people to be a hero one moment, you're an EMS worker, you went to save someone's life, and then we're going to throw you out in the street with no job.
Right.
It's inexcusable to me.
The essential workers, yeah.
That doesn't mean you wasn't going to get the vaccination. It just means that your timing to get it, you might have needed more time. For someone to mandate you and not allow you to make that choice, to me, you can't work for 20 years as a school teacher. I was enough then, but now I'm not enough. And now I'm going to be home, losing my home, because you obviously believe in it, believe that you don't want the vaccination if you're willing to lose your home, your $100,000 income. I think there's 12 principals that refuse to take the vaccination. I have to trust that they believe in that. So I'm supporting those people, whether whether I'm vaccinated or not. I still support those people. I don't have the right to do that to them.
Okay.
And can I just bring in, before we get off of this, the legal aspect, because they literally have that if you, your friends, relatives, whatever, if you get sick and die from this, you cannot even sue. They literally, there's no one that is legally responsible. There's something very, very wrong with that.
Well, we will see what happens in 2022 if this, will they lift this mandate or not. Let's talk about one of the other top news stories of 2021 was the Capitol insurrection. Was it January the 6th? I couldn't believe my eyes. I mean, I went into the other room. I said, Zaki, they bum rushed in the Capitol. And, he told me he was dreaming, because I remember he was like shaking his head. He was taking a nap, shaking his head, blinking his eyes. Yes, come, look, they're bum rushing the Capitol. They started rounding up people who were involved in that insurrection, and they're giving them sentences. Are you sort of surprised about that? That's one question. Also, do you think it's Trump's fault that the insurrection occurred?
I can only say that had there been people of color bum rushing the Capitol, so to speak, the stairs would have been flowing with blood. And I think that is a very, very big issue here. It was a glaring example of white privilege, and then I keep wondering about the few there, because there were one or two Latinos and a couple of African Americans in those crowds too. What is with those people? What is going on? And here you are bum rushing the Capitol next to some guy that has on a Nazi T-shirt. So there's something very, very wrong going on here, and there's an inequality that is glaring. And I think I mentioned before that these guys, Trump and his compatriots, in terms, they all said what they were about. They were going to go in and try to destroy institutions of the United States, and that's exactly what they did.
What was your take on it, Ina?
Well, proof is in the pudding. I believe it was planned. I believe that someone paid for the buses. I believe it was too orchestrated. It was not a coincidental, heightened moment that we had. There was people in place There were organizations. What does organizations do? They organize. So they knew where they were going. They came prior to see the layout. Okay. And I also believe that some of those people in the room that was bending down and hiding knew that they were coming.
That most of the people who were not peaceful during those protests were not even from the community. However, you know, in this case for the insurrection, the flames had been fanned long ago, and they made quite clear what their intentions were. No National Guard had been, you know, assigned anywhere throughout DC for them.
Yeah.
You know.
So it is. I don't know if it's surprised or taken back or.
Well, out of 700 people, right, who have so far been charged, only 139 of those people have pled guilty. So it remains to be seen how many more of them will face any kind of consequences at all.
Okay. Well, you know, since we're in Washington, D.C., virtually talking about that, let's talk about Kamala Harris. Now, she made history in 2021, being the first Black woman to be vice president of the United States. Let's rate her performance. So far, she's, I guess, I don't know what to say her performance is. You know, it's hard for me to rate right now. But as we know, some of her staff has quit on her, left. I kind of felt sorry for her, I did. And I wasn't a really big supporter of her because of her, you know, her background as a prosecutor and the marijuana laws and all that stuff. But like you talked about earlier, Star, the first of anything is just hard. But I'm just gonna lay it out there. What do you all think about her job performance?
Well, Ina mentioned that Kamala Harris had been doing a lot of grassroots, boots on the ground type work. And I did hear that. Unfortunately, it's not publicized very much. So I think her I think her approval rating would go a lot higher if things like that were made more well known.
Okay, what you say, Dana?
Well, I have to say that I am somewhat disappointed in her. I know that previously vice presidents have not been very out front in terms of an administration, but Joe Biden specifically changed that equation. He even forced President Obama to look at the LGBTQ situation. And Obama said he wasn't ready, but Biden got him ready by being very vocal and coming out and speaking up. And
really, okay.
And you do have, when you are in those type of offices, even if she's just VP, she does have a bully pulpit. If she calls a press conference, I think people will show up. Now, I know Ina had said that she had gone into her community in the Bronx and she's been doing grassroots work. And if you're going to do that, then call up the local press. She has the power to do that. I think she's been very laid back, and she was given the task to deal with the border situation. We have seen virtually nothing happen other than her going there and telling people, stop coming. I'm very disappointed.
Yeah.
I'm still wondering, you know, what's happening with those children. The cages are still there. What is going on? I want to know what's happening. It's a humanitarian issue. So she needs to step up. She needs to step up a little bit more here.
I'm sorry. What about yourself, Ina?
Well, like I said, I definitely need more time because I feel like the press has not been kind to her. So I don't see her really approaching. She has to find a new way to approach the press because they were denigrating her from the very, very beginning, making a lot of really racist comments about her. You know, was she really Black? Was she really Asian? Was, you know, all of this kind of thing. So when you start off like that, it's kind of hard. But I do think, being that she is a Black woman and we have a situation with children in the border,
Yes.
that are immigrant, they're immigrants. She comes from that. You would think there would be a level of sensitivity that we're not seeing. So she definitely needs a bigger voice. I think that might have something to do with the administration. And also, I don't know who in the heck would want to be vice president and president after Trump, but they did. So I'll give them a little more time than the average person.
Okay, well, speaking of film, the producers, since you're on the mic right now, let's talk about your Kwanzaa Film Festival. Okay, you're having your 5th Kwanzaa Film Festival, 2021, December the 26th. That's the first night, the first evening. And I must say, I am one of the honorees. Thank you, Anna, so much. I really appreciate that you have reached out to me and said, Deetra, I'm giving you one of the honorees and all that. That really touched me, and I'm just so grateful about it. But tell us about the Kwanzaa Film Festival.
Well, first, the Kwanzaa Film Festival, we originated in 2017, and the idea was to take in films that show principles, at least one of them. So if you had principle of faith or principle of unity in your film or self-determination, you would be eligible to be in our film festival. And then from that point on, we have events. Our very first event is lighting the candles and a wine reception where we honor 7 people, 1 for each principle. And I believe your principle is unity, because as far as I know, every time I come to Sister Talk, you're bringing people together that normally don't even know each other. And I've gotten to meet great people through your Sister Talk. And I didn't want anyone to take that for granted, because you've been doing this for 10 years, letting our non-for-profits get publicity, our independent artists and small businesses. So you deserve it. So that day we're going to have candle lighting, libations, some entertainment and food. And so it's going to be very enjoyable. And then the next day we're going to be at the AMC Theater on 42nd Street, and we'll be showing 7 films and doing a workshop calling Demystifying the Black Entertainment Attorney, because I know you've heard it. Get yourself a white lawyer. Don't get yourself a Black lawyer. We've been saying that and promoting that for so long, and we want to demystify that. You can use a Black attorney for an entertainment deal or for any other deal, because when you're saying that, you're saying something about yourself more than about the other person. Then the next day, we're going to be showing some more films at the AMC Theater. And then Wednesday is when we do our virtual film parties, our networking, our speed networking parties, where you get to meet industry professionals and ask them questions and spend a few 5 minutes with this one and 5 minutes with that one. And we're going to be doing that for 3 days. And we're also going to have a panel powwow with film festival organizers, but I'll be remiss if I don't mention Damon Dash Studios is supporting us. We have a great interview with him as well. Douglas Holloway of UKW Media and Digital Media Rights. They all give our filmmakers an opportunity to get a distribution deal after the film festival, which a lot of times people walk away without a deal, but we've secured 3 mediums that will look at the film and give them opportunity. So we're real excited. And you don't have to be a filmmaker to come. If you just love being around artists, seeing new films, come on out and support us. Find us on Kwanzaa Film Festival on Facebook, KwanzaaFilmFest.festive.com. And you can look at us. We have a Twitter account. We have an Instagram account. You can find us and you'll find the whole program.
Okay, thank you. We will have to take a video break. One of the videos, you all don't know this, but I decided to become a filmmaker. I did a short film of an iPhone. I took a class at HCCI here. And I'll tell you all the acronym, what it stands for. I don't have it offhand, but I'm going to show that during the break. And we'll be back with more topics of 2021. Okay, be right back.
It was an accident. I thought that she was a burglar. I didn't know it was Cynthia. Officer, you gotta believe me.
Lily, Cynthia was your best friend. It doesn't make sense. Hi, we're back. And what you just saw was a short film I did called Senseless. I took a class here in Harlem about how to use a cell phone to shoot a short film or film, period. And so I came with Senseless. It's based off my mystery thriller script, my full-length thriller script that I'm shopping around about a detective whose daughter is involved in the murder. So it's a fun little thriller thing going on, and I'll keep you all informed about it throughout the coming months and so forth. But we're back, and we're here with Star Davis, Dana McBroom, sorry, and Ina Norris. And we're talking about the top news stories of 2021. So let's continue on. Let's talk about the gun violence nationwide. We have a serious, serious problem. You know, now it's really big national attention. We've always had this problem in our community, let's face that. But now it's a problem because it's spilled over into other people's front yards instead of their backyards. It was something that they dismissed. Now it's an issue. Let's talk about that. The young boy that brought the gun to school, went into the counselor's office or something with his parents. They did not check his backpack or something. He went on and sprayed and killed like 3 people or 4 people or something like that. It's horrible. It's terrible. How can we end this? How can we end this? How can we stop this with the gun laws and people, children, not really being, I guess, reprimanded for their actions? What is your thoughts on this?
Listen, I was so happy that they charged this child's parents. It was about time. They brought him, they bought that gun for him as a birthday present or something. And it was totally absurd because he's busy. He cried out for help. It's not like it was something mysterious. They were brought into school to talk about that the boy was strange and having issues and saying he's hearing voices and he's going to do this and he's going to do that. And they still did nothing. Now, on the other hand, too, I'm very concerned about our communities, because the same way our communities were flooded with drugs back in the 70s, there are no African Americans who are owning gun manufacturing companies or bullet manufacturing companies. So someone is bringing these things into our communities. I have a friend in Oakland who told me that sometimes they get up and there's a bag of guns and sitting on a street corner. So these things are very deliberate. There's a method to the madness to keep the chaos alive. And we have to, because believe me, I'm not one of these who's into getting rid of the guns. I have a long history of the military in my family. My father was in the military. I have 2 brothers who were in the military. We had guns at our home.
Yeah, yeah, I did too. You know, we were raised My father had a rifle. I have people that are in the the force, in the military also. Star Davis, and Ina, what do you think about of this proliferation of guns and shooting and all that?
Well, I think
Proliferation, I'm sorry.
it's, first of all, I think it's happening all over the country in every community. So any stereotype that this was just a Black issue has kind of gone out the window after this pandemic has set in. And I think people are just kind of going stir crazy, being confined to their homes more than they ever had been before. And this is the result. I mean, you see domestic violence rates have gone up. Just, unfortunately, people being stuck at home.
Violence, period.
Yeah, it just unfortunately has a negative effect on people having to be home all the time. And like I said, this is something as far as specifically the gun violence. I was just in Washington State a couple of weeks ago, a week ago even, and the gun violence there has erupted. And the Black population there is a fraction of what it is in many other states. So it seems to be just a widespread problem.
How about you? What do you say, Ina?
I'm gonna just say this. Me personally believe that we as a community have been neglectful. I don't care what other people are doing. Too many Black children are getting killed. Just 4 weeks ago, an 18-year-old was shot, a drive-by shooting here in the Bronx, right around the corner from where I live. Prior to that, it's just been shooting after shooting. And I feel we're neglectful because we will get up over marijuana laws. We'll get up over police brutality, but we are really, and I've been having this conversation overnight. What are we going to do to go to the streets and save our children? We are losing the person who shot the kid and the kid that dies, and everyone extended to it. We are in a crisis. We are in bereavement constantly. How can these kids even function in school when they've just lost their best friend? How can they plan to go to college? It's really deep. And I think that, I am concerned about, generally speaking, America, but right now we got to take care of home. We have to demand a lot of the people who do lead our children, those pipers that go out there and take their money that look like them, need to speak up against gun violence. Period.
Yeah, I think that all of us has a role to play in it. I know that I wrote a play, Whose Side Are You On, about gang and gun violence. As an artist, I just put the pen to the paper to do something about that. We have to do something. All of us has a part to say it. But let's go on to the Cuomo brothers. The Cuomo brothers have been canceled. Without due process. Not to say I'm taking up for them, anything like that. Well, let's get real. This cancel culture is really running fast on the train track, as they say.
First of all, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to stop you, Dietrich, but that whole expression, cancel culture, I just have a problem with that expression.
Okay.
Most of the time, what it really means is somebody, being held accountable for their actions. So I think it should just be called that, rather than being given this name that I think originated on the far right, because many of them were being held accountable for their actions. And I think that's what's happening with the Cuomo brothers. Now, the former governor has not had his day in court. He will get his day in court. I know Letitia James felt that it was that there was some kind of merit to these charges, and she decided to allow this investigation to go on. And that was a finding she had from the investigation. So have they been canceled? No, I think they're being held accountable. As far as Chris Cuomo, who would not help a sibling with whom they were close? Did he know he was jeopardizing his job? I don't know. And now there's a recent allegation against him of having, sexual, what was it, sexual misconduct, or I'm not sure exactly what the exact charge was. But, I don't want to say that they've been canceled, because first of all, they'll probably be back somewhere. Again, I will make the comparison that here a Democratic governor had these allegations made against him, he resigned, right?
What do you say, Dan? I'm sorry because of time. I just want to hear what Dan.
Yeah, no, we've had a president of the United States who's been alleged to having done so many more worse, insidious, treacherous things.
And he hasn't been canceled or held accountable for that.
I guess I am very old school, and I am sick and tired of this. They didn't rape anybody. When the women said, no, I don't want you, they went on to the next person or whatever. This whole thing of that men cannot even approach a woman.
Well, Andrew, a governor, former and governor, has been accused of cupping a woman's breast.
I understand that he was accused of cupping the woman's breasts, but when she said no, did he continue? Did he continue to feel her up? Did he throw her down? Did he rape her, as was alleged with our former president? I mean, this is just getting to be a little bit too much. And the same woman that they claim he cupped her breast, she was out there partying with him. I mean, you're all out drinking, you're partying. Okay, so I don't, I hope he didn't, continue to grope her and touch her even more. But if someone touches you and you say, no, are these little girls? They are not, they're not minors. If someone touches you, just say, leave me alone, and let it go on beyond that. If they continue, now, then you have an issue.
Well, what I'm going to say is that there are women out there hurting people who really have had issues. And now it's a political move. Now it's become very political. The timing that a lot of these things are being brought about, you have to wonder what the intentions are. And I'm not saying that some women legitimately felt uncomfortable. I mean, of course, he doesn't have a rape charge. He doesn't have, some people said that he touched him in a room full of people. He kissed him in a room right in front of my boyfriend. Imagine a Black woman saying that a political figure kissed her in front of her boyfriend and they thought that was sexual harassment. Me Too could never have been Tawana Brawley. Me Too could never have been Anita Hill. Me Too they have, even in Me Too, they are privileged.
They took it away from the original.
They hijacked it. Not saying it. They hijacked it.
And now it's a political tool. Now it's not, you don't know if it's authentic. You can't tell, is this Memorex or is this a real tape? What's going on? And I can't say that it came out the worst time, almost selfish time during coronavirus, us being thrown off like, if you didn't say it before, could you wait a little bit until we got this together? So I don't know what the intentions were. And I have to give it to Letitia James. I thought it was not right for her to conduct the investigation knowing she was going to run for governor. Right. I do believe she should not have done that. She should have been wiser to not do that if she was going to state that she was going to run. And that is why I think she had to withdraw being governor. That was not a wise move. And we need to be, we cannot get complacent and think we can do what they do, because we cannot.
Okay. No? Okay, let's move on to in the courthouse. A lot of stuff has been going on. Jesse Smollett, he's been found guilty of staging a hate crime. Again, people who are tuning in, we're talking about the top news stories of 2021. We're talking Supreme Court opposed sex. Okay, let's talk with Jesse Smollett. Let's go with him. Jesse Smollett. What do you all think about that? There are people who still claim that he's innocent. I mean, even now. I didn't really follow the news, anything like that. What I read was he's very hostile on the witness stand or what have you, defending himself. I don't know why his lawyers let him get on the stand, or he didn't listen to them. I don't know. Now they're saying that he's a narcissist. He has some mental issues. We don't know.
Oh, we guess. I mean, anyone. I feel like this. The money that you spent on that, and not so many. There's so many other things besides Jesse Smollett. What he did, he needed to be sent to a psychiatrist. It's a mental health issue. Anyone that went that far, lose their job and do that, there's something wrong. Okay, so to put this much effort in it was a distraction. In Chicago, where people are getting killed and their cars are being hijacked, you're spending money on this. That's terrible. It's just didn't make any sense to me.
Okay, let's go with the Supreme Court upholds Texas abortion law. I mean, I'm sorry jumping like that because I'm looking at the time. What do you all think about the abortion ban? I think it's in Texas. Maybe.
Well, unless they're going to start prosecuting men for jerking off, they need to leave women's bodies alone.
Definitely.
I am sick and tired of this. You know, it's like the American Taliban telling women what they can do, when they can do it. And the fact that there are even some women that are complying with this as well. This is crazy. This is about controlling other human beings. And you know, it's happened over and over again. The person that is the most anti-gay has a gay lover in the closet. The person that is the most racist, look at Strom Thurmond, who was the most senator of our lifetime, and he has the African-American daughter hidden in the woodshed. I mean, I am sick and tired of people trying to control our bodies. That this is we should have our own autonomy, and it should not belong to the state. If some people, and I understand legitimately, some people feel that abortion is murder, well, then it's between that person and their God when they get to the other side. It's
Right.
not up to anyone, because they're willing to tell you to have a baby, but no one's going to help you take care of it once it arrives. So
okay, I know, I hear you.
Again, this country was founded on racism. The Achilles race is basically, like Wanda Sykes said, is this country's Achilles heel. And as far as the abortion rights issue, that in itself is all about racism. And I think those people are they're petrified that the birth rate among white people has gone down dramatically. They're very afraid that by the year, 2050, this is going to be predominantly, by far, a Latino country. And I think these people are petrified of that happening. And that is where their whole motivation comes in not wanting to have an abortion. They have proven over and over again that they do not believe in the sanctity of life, right? Because once the baby is born, what happens to the baby? They don't want to help people who are poor. They don't want to help women. They don't want to help immigrants who come in. They are not about helping people. So this whole thing about, pro-life, no, what it is it's pro-birth. And it's trying to make sure that their numbers do not go down, which they are petrified that they are.
But let's talk about the Derek Chauvin
abortions. They're still able to have abortions. It's the poorer women who cannot go elsewhere, who have no choice. So, that what you're saying.
Well, instead of spending all this money on not getting people to have abortions and stuff like that, why not spend money on the poor people, getting them education, great birth control, reliable birth control, so they won't have the abortions and so forth. From what I understand, abortions have gone down, so in some sense, people are waiting or they are postponing childhood, or they just don't want to have it and so forth. So I just think that having an abortion at 23 weeks, 24 weeks, don't you think that's a little bit extreme? I mean, that baby can survive out of the womb. Don't you think that is sort of like murder? Just answer that and we got to move on.
Well, I don't know. The Bible talks about the breath of life, and
absolutely,
and until that baby is slapped on their bottom, that's when they have the breath of life. Now, sure, I don't condone, but I don't think to me, it's not a matter of pro-abortion. It's pro-choice. It's
Okay.
about your choice of having a choice. And I don't know any woman that is pro-abortion. Most women are just pro-choice, because if
Absolutely.
I don't know any woman that is just pro-abortion. They're just
Okay.
pro-choice. Don't tell me what to do.
Okay, let's talk about Derek Chauvin, guilty of murdering George Floyd. Were you surprised that he was guilty? That was one of the top big stories of 2021.
I was surprised by the world's reaction to Darnella Fraser's video. That's what really surprised me. But once this was a movement all over the world, I would have been surprised if he were not found guilty.
Okay, all right. Let's talk about Rittenhouse, found not guilty.
You mean Rottenhouse?
I don't know what you say about that.
Well,
Were you surprised?
I wish I was, but I wasn't, because the judge seemed to be pointing in that direction. I think his mother should have been held accountable as well.
Yes.
Definitely. But I wasn't surprised. And you have those states where they're gonna support that. And it was just so obvious that he was guilty. That was one of those obvious things again, where,
well, 2 people were dead.
Yeah, like
you know what's so crazy about it? Not crazy, but ironic that the people that he killed were white.
right.
Wait a minute.
But they were out there in support of Black Lives Matter movement. So
Right.
they were white, but they were out there in support of Black people. So that's why I believe that judge was so willing to, or I should say not willing to call them victims, even though they were dead, but said that they could be called looters or rioters, specifically because, and he didn't say this, but the common denominator is always they were out there supporting Black people.
Okay, but I think everyone is missing a big point. First of all, those people that were killed, and I tell this to my Jewish friends all the time, these were Jewish people. Hello, where was the Jewish community in all of this? I tell my Jewish friends all the time, you are white for the white community until you're not white. Whenever it's convenient, and when it's not convenient, you're a Jew. All of those who stormed the Capitol, so many of them had the swastikas and the anti-Jewish rhetoric. And someone needs, and that mother who takes their minor child over state lines to go shoot people.
With a semi-automatic weapon.
Yeah, let's go talk about Ahmaud Arbery. His murderers were found guilty. Were you all surprised? And if you are surprised, what about the sentencing? What do you think they're going to get for the sentencing? That's what I'm looking at. Yeah, they can be found guilty, but how much time are they going to serve? Are they going to serve time?
Oh, they're absolutely going to serve time. And I'm hoping, again, because of the immense amount of media attention that was given to this case and the facts that were brought out in this case, again, you have an unarmed man who was running from 3 people who were armed and driving 2 vehicles, chasing him with 2 vehicles. So the fact that he was trying his best to de-escalate the situation and get away from the situation was made evident. That was a fact. And they chased him down. So I'm hoping because of that and because of the scrutiny that has been on this case that they will be given.
So we hope. We just cross our fingers for that. I want to ask you all this. It's almost time to end the show. 2021, 2020 has been a very taxing years for all of us. I don't know what that means. I can
looking to the wings.
Okay. It has been a very taxing time for all of us. What are your hopes for 2022?
My hopes for 2022, I guess I remember back in the day, we had that song, This is the Dawning of the Age of Aquarius. Well, we are in the age of Aquarius, and the age of Aquarius means um, revelations, things that were hidden being revealed. And I pray that education will take over, that people will begin to open their eyes and see what's actually going on around them. And I am optimistic in terms of I hope that people will start loving each other a little bit more. I
How
really
about yourself, Star? I'm sorry.
Oh, I got to think about that for a minute. I'm sorry. What do I hope for in 2020? Excuse me, 2022? You know, I think people are educated. I think people are knowing. I think people, in many cases, want to remain ignorant and want to sweep a lot of historical issues, especially under the rug. So what do I hope? I hope that without there being too much cause and loss of life, that things will come to the light.
How about yourself, Ina?
Well, I'm going to say intelligence without spirituality is like a knife that cuts everything up. So intelligence and education cannot do anything for our community if you don't have the love and the spirit to nurture your community. I'm hoping that they look for also, instead of just a vaccination, that they will come up with some kinds of cure or treatment for coronavirus and take some time to find that, because we're going to need that as we go on. I also feel that a lot of our entertainers need to go on a crusade to talk to these young kids about not killing each other, not killing people who look like you, not destroying our community. So those are the three things that I feel deeply, I have a lot of deep feelings about.
Okay, Sister Talk TV show. Every year we always say who's the sister of the year, the woman of the year. And last time a couple of times it was Michelle Obama. But during the year, looking at these trials, I must say the sister of the year goes to Ahmaud Arbery's mother, Wanda Cooper Jones. She sat in that courtroom and listened to the prosecutors describe her son as villains and a demon and less than an animal. But she somehow managed to hold her head up high because she knew justice would prevail. She always said that she prayed, and she knew in her heart. And she went into that courtroom regal, wearing her crown, because she knew that her son would seek justice. And I hope it continues on when we get to the sentencing. Guests, please give me your contact information. People want to contact you all. Ina?
Okay, Ina Norris. You can find the Kwanzaa Film Festival at kwanzaafilmfest.festseed.com. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, everywhere, Ina Norris, everywhere in a woman and everywhere Kwanzaa Film Festival. You put that in Google and it'll all come up.
Okay, how about yourself, Star?
UCAN Magazine, UCAN Magazine, that is on Facebook. UCAN_magazine on Instagram, UCAN Magazine on Twitter, and I guess on Instagram, me personally, I am Star Davis.
Okay, Dana, Your Highness.
You can find me on Facebook under Dana McBroom Mano, or under my company, Passing Ancestral Knowledge Along Theater Dance Company, or at PACA, which is for the Passing Ancestral Knowledge Along, PAKA, PACAfoundation.org.
Okay, and you can find Sister Talk TV show on Facebook, Sister Talk TV show, Twitter, Sister Talk TV. And also we are taking donations for the gospel musical, Whose Side Are You On Musical.com. Whose Side Are You On Musical.com. Hey, I want to give my shout out to Zakizi Starman for creating Sister Talk TV show, and also you, the viewers who have been supporting us these past 10 years. Again, I'm Deetra, and I'm wishing you, as always, peace, love, and remember to stay in the light.
When you need someone who understands, I know what you're missing. Sister Talk. No matter what you're going through, don't worry, I ain't going nowhere. Sister Talk. If you ever feel alone, say the word, I'll be right there. Sister talk, sister.